voice and have that voice heard, the board is a great place to do it. That would be what I would recommend to anybody who's considering, pursuing the idea of becoming a board member, is that.
Well, for me, the ultimate aim of a board in itself is to provide direction, guidance, governance, strategies for where a business is going.
Being on the board is all about corporate governance, so that's managing change and maintaining the momentum of the company. There are many different challenges that happen, and it's the board's job to take ultimate executive responsibility for it.
So a board has financial responsibilities, accountability, there are shareholders we have to respond to. We have to ensure that the staffing structure is correct to carry out any future development plans that we wish to undertake. It has to think about threats, risks to the business, keep up with legislation, changing governments, welfare reform, but ultimately there have to be aims and goals and ambitions for the company. It's to see that it strategically can get there and the policies are in place to allow it to get there.
As a resident, I have a unique perspective. Unlike the majority of the board has got, and is part of the Almo structure, that the board maintains a close relationship with its customers and clients, and part of that is having residents on the board. As a resident, I see the output, I feel the positive changes, and I suffer from the negatives. Those things, through a lifetime living in Barnet homes, have helped me bring that insight to the board, and hopefully, personally, through a certain degree of eloquence and confidence, those insights are taken seriously, and future management decisions and changes benefit from it.
As a resident board member, it would be very easy to think of myself as solely and absolutely only there for the sake of residents, and whilst that's very paramount, I see personally my own interpretation as two roles. One, there are key core qualities of any board member with respect to what role they are, whether they're independent, executive, non-executive. First of all, I think there has to be a passion and commitment, a time commitment given to the work. And alongside that, as a resident board member, I'm bringing the fact that I am very, very personally aware of the services on the ground, if you like. I've had full experience of that. I've worked in many of the service industry areas within the company, such as customer services, I look at HR, I'm familiar with the call centre. So I've got quite a big working knowledge of how Barnet Homes, i.e. Barnet Group, how that operates at the moment. So I bring it, my main key response is as a resident, but I think you have to be aware that that has to be broadened out to the successful running of the business as a whole.
I would say my biggest challenge as a board member was really the initial adaptation to being on a board. It's my first time on a board. These things can be intimidating, like anybody's first time. And then keeping pace. Barnet Homes and the Barnet Group, as it has currently become, has gone through an unprecedented change. Many of these changes are innovative, there aren't previous role models to copy, and so keeping pace with that change, having the personal confidence that I had something valuable to contribute to that change, when there are other people who are experts in a situation, that's a challenge, and it's an ongoing challenge, but it's a challenge that the people at Barnet Homes have helped me feel comfortable at meeting.
My biggest challenge as a board member has been the fact that there are more restraints than perhaps merely as a resident not attending any events that you fully realise. There's accountability to Barnet Council, regular meetings are undertaken by the Chief Executive and other members of staff. We're under key performance indicators to show how well we are doing or not doing in areas that need help. So I think the changes in the financial, certainly with the financial accounting has changed, certainly the challenges of the welfare reform, and realising that cuts are going to be made, perhaps in an area where I wouldn't want them to be made. But actually I can see now, and all the arguments have been tabled, and all the board members have inputted from their perspective, you get to see that perhaps the decision, whilst it might not be for you as an individual or you one, certainly it's for the betterment of the business. So the challenge has been to understand it cannot be what I singularly want, that I'm part of a team, and teamwork is critical to success.
primarily that I saw the changes around me as a resident. I saw the regeneration, I saw the pressures that regeneration placed upon residents. And I saw that being on the board was potentially the most valuable contribution and most connected position that would be available to me to help inform and contribute to those changes for the best outcome for myself as a resident and all the other residents like me.
I think really when I even started to get the idea of board work in my mind was once I joined the Performance Advisory Group, affectionately known as PAG. And within PAG it was suggested that we worked there for 2 years. PAG is a scrutiny group made up predominantly of residents. We work very, very closely with Barnet home staff. So we got access to internal systems, internal records, internal data, which allowed us to see where the company, what I call it company business, where we could improve, where we were doing very, very well. It's not all about fault finding, there's also a bit of appraisal on things that were very successful as well, and encouraging and giving thanks for that. So PAG was the platform for my wanting to join the board. And I would honestly recommend anybody who wants to do board work, unless they're coming from a very specialised professional background, I think is a very good way in. And certainly attending the hubs that are dotted around the borough that Barnet Homes put on, attending all residents' events as and when residents can, all these things develop an encouragement of wanting to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper into understanding where the business is going. So for me, it was the reason I wanted to do it was I had a great interest anyway, and being part of the board has only deepened that interest. And I brought it to it, I hope, great passion, great commitment.
There's also a chance for personal development, which it's provided, and it's an ongoing challenge that gives me something to work towards and something that I hope provides value for the people around me.
I truthfully have been very impressed with the help that's available. I would call Barnet Homes, Barnet Group, an open door policy. From the very off, I was enrolled in many bodies, such as Charles Institute of Housing, National Federation of Almos. Membership was automatically taken up for me, so I received emails and I received productions telling me of things going on within the housing world. I was deeply encouraged. Any level of questions I had, however silly, however intense, whatever the questions were, there were a number of people I could go to within Barnet Homes, or equally I could go to any of my colleagues on the board. Many of them have much more housing experience than myself.
Barnet Homes has been very supportive. Initially, it provided me with an adequate kind of initiation into being a board member through provision of training with other Almos, the ability to attend conferences, to feel comfortable, to hit the ground running. Also, no member on the board has ever been dismissive of my opinions. Every officer within the company has always been friendly, open and engaging. And I've never felt that being a resident was merely a token gesture. We all share an equal voice, and my voice is heard as loudly as anyone else on the board, because I feel that my contribution is valued. So the training's been, I think, superb. The encouragement to speak up has been very, very helpful. And the more things I attend, the greater my confidence has got. So I don't feel unhelped in my role.